this series up and running and make it as kind of as close to like a as close to a real racing experience as possible is great. And how they're, replicating courses from some of our sort of long-standing junior races across the country is awesome, and it's pretty neat. And we've always had, even for a few years, had a few years running now, like going back to around 2017, looking at opportunities to better leverage like online and virtual racing.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, not just so much for the racing, but also for the community building aspect of it, and I think it's just, for us as a country, like being big and not so densely populated, so it's hard to travel around, and then also being pretty northern, so which means it's hard to ride outside for big periods of time. Like the opportunity for us with online or virtual racing, or even just virtual training and riding, has always been really high. Like the more we can connect with our communities and our athletes sort of digitally is going to be a big part of our future, I think. And if we can do it well, I think it has amazing opportunities. So when I see what Russ has done in a pretty short period of time, I get really excited. And it's kind of happening in all kinds of little pockets around Canadian cycling. Well, all cycling right now, not just Canadian cycling. But it has been really neat to see how, the global health crisis has just sort of, a lot of people have really embraced it in terms of what they can do. And, like all these things have existed for a while now, but then it took a situation like this to sort of like get everybody to charge at it like full steam ahead. And I think it's pretty awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing it sort of sustain itself and be sort of a something that we embrace and continue to do as much as possible even after things open up. So because I think it can be amazing for us especially with the younger categories, where I think cycling can be such an expensive sport, and it doesn't need to be, and we need to make it a sport that can be more accessible to, like a kid from Saskatchewan or a kid from the Northwest Territories or the Yukon or Newfoundland, like those parts of our country where there may not be lots of cycling. We're fortunate to have some really good clubs and activities in even some of the most kind of like weird and remote parts of Canada. It's hard for kids in those areas to kind of get down to like somewhere in BC, like Penticton, or over to Quebec for the national championships and stuff like that. And like, if we can't figure out a way to sort of know where all these little pockets and kids are, like we're missing opportunities to find, the next Catherine Pendrell or Leah Kirschman, or, and some of our greatest athletes have come from some of those places, like Catherine's originally from New Brunswick, Christian Meyer's originally from New Brunswick, Denise Ramsden is from the Northwest Territories, and so is Zach Bell. Like, if you just think recently, like not everybody comes from, the greater Vancouver area or Toronto or Quebec City, like if we can, and it's the kids from those areas, unless they pick up and go somewhere else, they can get overlooked.
Yeah, for sure. So this is kind of a really great way to see them and have them even kind of meet these other other kids their age. And I couldn't believe, because I'm not so into the remote racing, like personally, I was so surprised to hear sort of some of the kids' race reports last week where they're like, oh, it was really cool to ride with my friends and like see these people that I like haven't seen since last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you guys actually think that like this is actually, you are hanging out together. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I think that whole like the like, I mean, I just love that kind of gamification of
Yeah.
cycling too, you know, like whether it's like competition or training, you know, just that, like, turn it into a game, make it fun, and how you can kind of be remotely connected to your buddies no matter where they are in the country or the world is actually pretty, it's pretty cool.